All right, today we're doing something a little different. We're going to take a tour of what you might call a modern digital apothecary. It's an online store that, when you really look at it, tells a pretty fascinating story about where health and wellness is headed. By just browsing the virtual shelves, we can start to see some of the biggest, and yeah, some of the most controversial trends happening right now. Let's get started. So right off the bat, this is the first thing you see. It's their motto. And honestly, it is the key to understanding this whole operation. The message here isn't forget your doctor. It's more about enhancing what conventional medicine does. This single idea that we can extend and enhance our lives with these new approaches, well, that's the core promise you're going to see over and over again in everything they sell. So here's our game plan. First, we'll just get a feel for the e-shop itself, the lay of the land. Then, we'll dive deep into two really specific and kind of controversial areas, the anti-spike collection and the use of repurposed drugs. From there, we'll pull back and see how the store plugs right into major wellness trends. And finally, we'll try to get our heads around the just sheer scale of its A to Z supplement library. Okay, let's start with the storefront. Before we get into any of the actual products, we have to understand the layout. How does this shop guide people? Believe it or not, the way it's organized tells a story all by itself. And just a quick note, it's important to remember that everything we're looking at today comes directly from the One Day MD website's public e-shop and blog. We're basically just tour guides here, looking at the material that they themselves have put out there for everyone to see. The site structure is pretty standard for e-commerce, but the categories are really telling. You've got bestsellers and what's new, which show you what's hot right now, but the real choice for a customer is, do I want to shop by a specific type of supplement, like, say, vitamin C, or do I shop by a health category, like immune support? This setup immediately frames all these products as targeted solutions for specific problems. All right, now we're going to dive into one of the most specific and really one of the most prominent categories on the whole site. The anti-spike collection. And yes, this is directly related to COVID-19. So what do they even mean by spike protein? Well, in this context, according to the site, it's all about a specific part of the SARS-CoV-2 virus. The products they're selling here are all built around the idea of detoxification and protecting yourselves from what they call spike protein damage. This product right here is the perfect example of their whole approach. The Ultimate Spike Detox is kind of the flagship of this collection, and it's a bestseller. It takes this really complex idea and breaks it down into a simple three-step formula: nattokinase, bromelain, and curcumin, and these are three ingredients that are already really well known in alternative health circles for their anti-inflammatory properties. But this collection is way more than just that one formula. It's a whole ecosystem of products. You can find different versions of ivermectin, you've got iodine sprays for your nose and throat, and these branded supplements like Ultra NAC and the Spike Support formula. They all hammer home that same central theme. Okay, moving on, there's another huge theme on the site that you just can't miss. And that's this deep, deep focus on what they call repurposed drugs, especially when they talk about cancer. And right here, this is the power of a single number. One of the most popular blog posts on the site talks about a compilation of 602 case reports on using these repurposed drugs for cancer. That number, 602, is so specific. It lends this air of authority. It makes it sound like there's this huge body of anecdotal evidence, which is, a really central part of their persuasive strategy. So what exactly are these repurposed drugs? Well, as you can see here, there are medications like ivermectin and fenbendazole that were originally made to be antiparasitics. But the blog posts on this site are exploring their use for something totally different, as a potential treatment for cancer. And the language they use in these blog posts, wow, it is incredibly direct. This is a real title from the site. It very deliberately connects these drugs to the term turbo cancer, which is a phrase that really strikes a chord with certain online communities. You can tell these titles are designed to be provocative and to get you to click. Now, besides these very niche categories, the shop also has its finger right on the pulse of mainstream wellness. It taps into these huge billion-dollar markets for weight loss, longevity, and detoxification, and it does it expertly. So let's take weight loss. The shop is all over the buzz around GLP-1 drugs, the class that includes Ozempic. But they offer a clever twist. Instead of injections, they're selling things like a tirzepatide gum or an oral spray. And at the same time, they're providing natural options too. They're basically making sure they capture interest from every possible angle of this trend. And you see the exact same pattern for longevity and detox. The shop is right on trend. It's got a longevity mix named after the biohacker Brian Johnson. It's hitting on these very modern fears with a microplastic detox formula, and it's offering these complex blends like Recharge and Shield that promise, well, pretty much everything from cellular energy to detoxification. Okay, finally, just to get a sense of the sheer scale of this thing, let's step away from the curated collections, because the site also has this massive A to Z library of individual supplements. I mean, it covers almost anything you can imagine. We're going to go fast here because the point is the volume. Under A, you've got Artemisia and astaxanthin. B has the basics like B complex, but also berberine and black seed oil. C gives you the classics like vitamin C and collagen, but also stuff like curcumin and CBD. The list just goes on and on and on. And it just keeps going. D has D3, E has ECGG, F has fish oil, G has glutathione. For every single supplement you've heard of, there are probably 5 more that are totally new to you. The whole library feels like it's designed to be incredibly deep and wide at the same time. It creates this almost overwhelming sense of choice and authority. And the catalog just keeps rolling. N for NAD, P for probiotics, Q for quercetin, R for resveratrol, all the way to Z for zinc, and branded stuff like Z-Stock. The real takeaway here is pretty simple. If a supplement is even remotely popular or has any kind of niche following, you can almost bet it's for sale here. So, we've toured the aisles, we've looked at the collections. What's the big picture here? Well, a digital shop like this gives us a fascinating snapshot of a really big shift in wellness. It shows us a world where people, armed with their own online research, are looking for things beyond just conventional medicine. They want personalized solutions, they're plugged into these niche communities, and they're taking a much more proactive and, let's be honest, sometimes riskier approach to their own health. This digital apothecary, it isn't just selling products, it's selling a feeling of empowerment in what feels like a very complex and uncertain world.